about skin color. He didn't talk about religion. He talked about them, the content or lack thereof of their character. On the other hand, Omar, Tlaib, AOC, I don't know this Presley that well, they are degrading an entire faith, an entire people, Jews, Israelis, an entire country, Israel. So it shouldn't surprise anybody that their venom for America is same as their venom for Israel, and vice versa. That's typical of the radical hard left. And the evidence is overwhelming that these women are anti-Semite bigots, and they don't hide it. They don't hide it. The BDS movement, their constant references to Hitler and the Third Reich and concentration camps. They have no knowledge of history. They've never visited these sites. Their families really have done nothing for this country. I'm going to be very blunt about it. I don't know what they've done in support of this country while they rip this great country apart, while we have men and women in uniform of all faiths and all colors in one hellhole after another all over the world trying to defend people and promote freedom. We have this fifth column in our country, and they're not alone. The media is a fifth column, too.
Okay. So, he hit it right on the head, too. Mm-hmm. Americans were in Somalia. Americans died in Somalia to try and bring peace to Somalia. And yet she celebrates the death of Americans from Black Hawk Down? Really? In that incident?
Yeah.
Americans don't go to other parts of the world to hurt people on purpose. Do people die in accidents, in war-type situations? Innocent people do sometimes die. Sometimes they do die. But that's not America's fault. We're trying to help.
Yeah.
And yet these people want to tear us down. Limb by limb, they want to cut America off at the knees. They don't enjoy being... Little do they seem to realize that America has helped more people around the world than any other country on the planet, repeatedly. And we get kicked in the shins for it every time.
Yeah.
And these four people have the nerve to badmouth the entire country, the 63 million Americans who voted for Trump. Hopefully it'll be 73 million this time around.
They had to add Presley in. You know, that's the reason they added Presley in, not just to make it a quartet, right? They added her in because she actually is a black woman. So the other three, women of color, you know?
Yeah.
Now they've got Presley, so she's their token black. Honestly, when you have to say that libs have a token black, that's who she is. This whole women of color thing, the whole, like we were talking about earlier, what is a color? Well, actually, black is the absence of color, and white is the presence of all colors in the spectrum.
I like what you told me earlier. A Muslim guy that you had heard was talking about when he fills out applications, he has to fill out white.
He wasn't a Muslim. He was of Middle Eastern descent. Middle Eastern descent. And, well, there's like a friend of mine at church. He was a Middle Eastern. His dad was an Arab, came to this country. He's a Christian. But when he applies for employment, he has to put down Caucasian. There is no Middle Eastern that's Caucasian.
Right.
So how does Rashida Tlaib, how does she get to be a woman of color?
Even though she's just a Middle Easterner and basically white. She's as white as you and I, right? And you've got a little red skin tone, so do I. I'm certainly not white.
You're either burnt, tanned, or kind of beige, you know?
Peach?
Many colors.
Peach.
Yes.
And anyways, Derek, keep rolling. I want you to hear the rest of this.
Undermining us at home while our brave men and women are fighting abroad. So they hate the president because he has two strikes against him. He loves America, and he's the greatest president that Israel has ever seen. Recognizing their capital in Jerusalem, moving our embassy to Jerusalem, recognizing sovereignty of Israel over the Golan Heights, kicking the PLO the hell out of our country, cutting off funds for terrorists that are linked to the Palestinian Authority, and it's driving these three anti-Semites nuts. That's what's going on. Now, 50% of the hate crimes in this country are against Jews. The media don't mention, Democrat Party, you have a high tolerance for anti-Semitism in your ranks. Maybe you ought to tone it down. Maybe you ought to tone it down, Omar and Tlaib and AOC. But no, they're celebrated. They're promoted. Now let's look at Donald Trump's record when it comes to Muslims and women of color, particularly overseas. Let's take a look at Syria, where this commander-in-chief ordered a tax on Syria to prevent that regime from gassing women of color, men of color, babies of color, Muslims. It was this president who stepped in, not Obama. It's this president who ordered his military to destroy ISIS and the caliphate that was killing women of color, men of color, babies of color, Muslims, Yazidis and Christians too, but primarily Muslims. It's this commander-in-chief that oversees the war in Afghanistan to protect Muslims from the Taliban. That would be men, women, children of color. Now, what the hell have Omar and Tlaib and AOC done for men and women and children of color? Not a damn thing. Now, let's talk about the southern border. It's this president who said, look, and I didn't even agree with this, 1.2 million individuals who are here illegally, most of them south of the border, from south of the border. I'll give them legalization, maybe even citizenship if we can cut a deal on immigration. The Democrats said no. Does that sound like a racist to you?
Yeah. Well, once again, when you think about Tlaib and AOC and, oh my goodness, Omar, what is their focal point? It's not on conditions in their districts. That's why that one woman, Sherry, what's her face? And the name's Sherry
Murray.
Sherry Murray. She's challenging. She's from, is it Jamaica?
She's a Jamaican immigrant. Yes.
Yeah, she's a Jamaican immigrant, and she's going to be challenging AOC in her district. And you look at what AOC did for her district. She got Amazon to walk away from a deal that would have employed a ton of people. Yep. What has Tlaib done for Detroit? What has Omar done for Minnesota? Absolutely nothing but bring criticism of their behavior. But what are they doing is they're trying to promote Palestinian causes. And Omar came right out again with this BDS, which is a boycott, divestment, and sanctions. She came right out. The last time she did this, the Democrats were going to do this anti-Semitic resolution against her. And then they watered it down and watered it down and watered it down. And so it never mentioned her by name, and it was a whole broad thing that meant absolutely nothing. And now she's pulling it again. She's pushing for a BDS resolution. Nothing to help her district, everything to hurt Israel.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get Tom in. Tom from Detroit. Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say about Rashida Tlaib. I live in the 13th district, and I've worked the polls in Detroit, a couple of different precincts, and I worked during the primaries, and we gave out, they request either a Republican or a Democrat ballot, and it was over 90% people around here are just Democrats. So, getting someone to vote for somebody other than who the Democrat is, I just don't think it's going to happen.
I can't imagine John Conyers would be happy with the performance of Rashida Tlaib, even though he didn't like Trump either. But she's done nothing. John Conyers, at least for his sake, was trying to bring money home for his people.
Isn't there reason to believe that Tlaib actually was residing in Dearborn when she ran for this position?
I don't know where she was. I know I didn't.
That's what I heard.
Her,
that there's allegations of election fraud here because she wasn't even from that district. It just came open and she ran for it. She wasn't even a resident. Yeah. She still had a residency she was maintaining in Dearborn.
I would hope that somebody in Detroit Metro in that 13th district would step up and go against her in the primary, because she's doing nothing but tearing down what's left of the Democratic Party. Not that I have any love for the Democratic Party at this point, but somebody who has the heart and soul of Detroit at its best, at their interest, instead of somebody who's just out to cause trouble, because that's all Rashida Tlaib is.
I'd rather see a classical communist like John Conyers.
What else you got, Tom? Anything?
Well, it's just that people around here don't talk politics. I mean, if I talk politics to anyone right around here, it's basically a cure for insomnia. They're gone.
Yeah.
But so.
All right. All right.
Thanks for taking my call, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom. We'll see you. Okay, and we'll see all of you. That's the hard break. Boy, that was quick.
Yeah.
We'll see all of you on the other side. You're catching the drift.
always headed somewhere. How do they keep up on the latest news and information? They listen to Wham, just like you. If you have a product or business to advertise, your message can reach these listeners wherever they are. People tune to Wham Radio for the latest issues, discussed by hosts like Tyrone X, Steve Gruber, and Joe Pags. Call 734-971-1600 today and advertise with Wham Radio, 1600 AM, 92.7 FM. You'd be insane to be anyplace else.
Fox News, I'm Karen McHugh. History was made 50 years ago today when American astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans ever to set foot on the moon, while Command Module pilot Michael Collins orbited above. When asked how often he thinks of that historic day, he told Fox,
Not very often. I lead a quiet life, and I'll be walking along down my street and at night when it's starting to get dark, and I sense something over my right shoulder, and I look up and I see that little silver sliver up there, and I think, oh, that's the moon. I've been there.
Back on Earth, the man who was flight director of Apollo 11 was asked, should we go back?
Oh, I'd love to. In fact, I had hoped that somewhere in my lifetime I'd see it again. Now I hope that my children will see Americans back on the moon.
Gene Kranz on Fox's Your World with Neil Cavuto. This is Fox News.
What if you could spend more time doing the things you want and less time doing the things you have to? That would be good. Well, now when it comes to car service, you can. It's called Quick Lane. For the services you need most, no matter what kind of car or truck you drive. Tires, brakes, oil changes, that kind of stuff. See, at Quick Lane, your schedule becomes their schedule. With evening and weekend hours, service while you wait, quality motorcraft parts, and factory-trained technicians. Come see how life is better in the Quick Lane. Right now, bring in any competitor's current price ad on the name brand tires we sell within 30 days of purchase, and we'll beat that price guaranteed. Goodyear, Michelin, Continental, and more. Visit one of our convenient Quick Lane locations or find us on the web at quicklane.com. See participating Quick Lanes for service hours and details. Quick Lane is a registered trademark of Ford Motor Company.
Stop by Quick Lane of Canton, located at 6181 Canton Center Road, just north of Ford Road.
Your bridge to recovery and wellness is Wellbridge. Wellbridge is redefining the rehabilitation and nursing care experience with the most amazing care facilities you've ever seen. All Wellbridge locations offer a resort-like atmosphere, and their driving goal is to provide each guest with an epic experience. Here's former patient Evelyn Danielson from Brighton.
It was excellent. It wasn't only just the physical part of it, doing your exercises with them. It was the RNs, even down to the kitchen people that came in and said, what can we fix you? What do you like? We'll try to do it for you. And everything with a smile. I couldn't get over. I would heartily recommend Wellbridge.
For rehabilitation and nursing care, ask for something epic. Ask for Wellbridge. In Brighton, Fenton, Novi, and Pinckney. Now looking for talented nurses and certified nurse assistants to join their growing team, Wellbridge invites everyone to learn more about them at thewellbridgegroup.com. Wellbridge, your bridge to recovery and wellness starts here.
And welcome back to The Drift. Strange days indeed.
Yeah.
When a patriot and a person who tells the truth is the bad person.
Racist.
And a racist. And whatever else they can call you and demonize you with, while the people who are evil are held up as heroes by the Democratic Party. Yeah, very, very disturbing for sure. It's
or they're
terrible.
Victims.
Or
they're victims of the evil right-wing conspiracy.
I'm so sick of this whole victim mentality is what drives me crazy. All right, let's take care of a little business here. Today is Saturday, July 20th, and from 6 p.m. until twilight, La Casa is having Twilight in the Garden. It's a garden party gala. Triple Diamonds, Alpaca Ranch, and Howell. They'll have gourmet wines, delicious food, and sizzling music. You can go to La Casa LACASA center.org, lacasacenter.org, or you can call 517